are you? I hope you're doing well. My name is Shannon and this is Knitter's Life, episode 11 on my YouTube channel, Whiskey and Wool. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new, you may not know, I've been recording for a few years. I just decided to do a special series for 2021, try it out, like a new format, and I'm calling it Knitter's Life. The format is more incorporating some of my daily processes in making and a couple other little things. I think it's really fun to see other people's snips of their daily life. So I have a couple of things like that, mostly centered around my walks outside. Welcome. I live in northern New Jersey. I live and work in northern New Jersey. I have been working remotely, like so many other people, since March of 2020. I am returning to campus. I'm a university professor and administrator. I'm returning to campus next week, fully vaccinated. I'm not really too worried. We're going back on a part-time basis, though we'll continue remote working for some time. Not really sure how long. But I have a standing remote work agreement with my current boss, where I was working remotely 1 to 2 days a week pre-pandemic. So I'll continue that. I may have a standing 2-day remote work. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. Why am I telling you all this? Because there's a pandemic. There's a pandemic. Yeah. I went a little overboard with makeup today. I just was having fun. I got some new products, so I was like trying them out. So I hope you don't mind. The extra. I love putting eyeliner on because I don't really need mascara when I do that. And mascara, kind of irritates my eyes from time to time. So, yeah, kind of sensitive there. All right. I am going to start this episode, as I do all episodes, by sharing a little gin chat with you. Today, I decided to do a gin chat. I filmed it last night. It was Friday night, and I decided I was going to have a cocktail, and I thought I'd share that tasting of a new to me gin with you. So I will tell you where to skip to if you are not interested, and you can go straight into the wool. I'm going to do a little gin chat for you today. It is Friday evening, and the light is, it's pouring rain out. So the light is a little low. Anyway, gin chat. This is a gin that I've been wanting to try for quite a while. It is called Dorothy Parker Gin. It is an American gin made right here in New York City. It's actually made in Brooklyn. I know I've walked by the distillery. They also make whiskey there and a couple other things, maybe bourbon, I'm not sure. But yeah, so I've wanted to try this because it is consistently ranked quite high on, and it's among people's top 5 gins. I don't think it's been made all that long. I did go to their website, New York Distillery Company, and there really wasn't much about their process listed there. I know you can see into the distillery and you can see a lot of their equipment and stuff in the warehouse windows and such, but what I did find was an article that described the gin. If you don't know who Dorothy Parker is, and so I'm going to really lean on this website to tell you the story of both Dorothy Parker and the gin. If you don't know who Dorothy Parker is, she was a poet around the turn of the century, a poet and a writer. She is probably best known for a widely misattributed quote, which is, "I like to have a martini. 2 at the very most. 3, I'm under the table. And 4, I am under my host." She was very caustic. She was known to be very caustic. She was a writer for Vanity Fair until she got fired in 1920. She lived in New York. She was a real New Yorker. I don't know if she was born there or if she migrated there. Very, very many people migrate to New York. There are some authentic New Yorkers too, in New York City, but many, many of the people that live there have migrated. Okay, so she was also a social activist. She was a left-wing activist who got on the Hollywood blacklist despite having 2 Academy Award nominations for her work. She was known to be witty, and she was very enthusiastic about gin, so it's kind of cool that this company coined one named for her. This website tells me that it came onto the market in 2011, so it's 10 years. And yeah, there's a bar that sells it that's owned by, there's of course many bars sell this gin, but there's a distillery bar that you can go to as a patron. I don't think they do tours. Okay. Also, I wanted to just confirm a couple other things that I said the last time I did a gin tasting. I have found that at least in the UK, a gin must have juniper by law. Otherwise, the predominant flavor actually must be of juniper. Otherwise, it can't be defined as gin. It also must have 37.5% alcohol or higher. And then there are 3 types of gin: a London Dry, a Plymouth Dry, and Old Tom gin. And then there are also flavored gins and slow gin. So this is not a flavored gin. I don't know what this classifies itself as. Since it's an American gin, I don't think it hits one of those classifications, because that is all UK. So UK, there are so many more UK companies that make gin than here in the US, but there are a handful, and elsewhere in the world. But it's like the really awesome gins that I covet are all UK, it seems. Many of them from Scotland. Gin is always made from a base of grain such as wheat or barley. And I've been told that the difference between gin and vodka is that vodka is just the liquor with no botanicals, where gin has botanicals. I probably said that last time I did a gin tasting. Bathtub gin was something that was made during Prohibition, during American Prohibition. Probably all those botanicals put in there to cover up the harshness of the alcohol. You can make your own gin from vodka, but you can also, if you have a little distilling kit, you can do them at home. I mean, there are small copper distilleries that are like tabletop size, so if you were so inclined. Anyway, let's move on to tasting the Dorothy Parker. So I do have a couple websites that I was able to find that talked about the tasting notes, and I did not read them. I tried really hard not to look at them. So I'm gonna do my best with this tasting, and we'll see how I do. So, really, really strong citrus. I can if I had to place which, I would say lemon. Oh, there's some lime in the background too, and strong smell of juniper. A little spicy too, but I don't know which spice. Okay. Ooh.
You know, so there's a flavor in there that you get. So you get the citrus, but the citrus goes away immediately. And it's filled with this really robust, strong flavor, which I don't know if I could put my finger on. I'm going to need to take another sip, but it is a flavor that I have tasted in other American gens. So I'm not sure what it is. I really want to know though. It might be it might be hibiscus. Something really strong. Oh, there is a Dorothy Parker rose gin that they make. The store I shopped in did not have that one. But I should be able to get it. I mean, New York City's only like 10 miles away, so it should be around somewhere. Probably just need to go to a bigger store, but I really am interested in trying that. Okay, I have no idea what that. It's really overwhelming. At the end, you get a spice, very strong spice, like ginger, cinnamon, something like that. Okay, not doing so well on my gin tastings. Okay. Oh, I found a flavor profile which I'll put on screen for you. Um, Overwhelmingly floral. Some spice and juniper is mid-range. That's what the flavor profile looks like. Okay. Oh, and this style is known as contemporary. So I guess that's a US way. Okay. Tasty notes. The nose is equal parts very classic and very contemporary. Juniper, elderberry, cinnamon, and hibiscus petals on the nose. Supposed to smell. I don't know what hibiscus smells like. Cranberry, we have a problem. Cranberry and coriander a bit underneath. Lots of juniper, but also a lot else. One of my favorite noses of all, Jen. Absolutely stunning and gorgeous. That's what this website says. Palette is a good deal of hibiscus, so maybe it is hibiscus. Piney juniper, sharp and precise. It shines on the palette. There's also a lovely combination of cinnamon, hibiscus, and elderberry, evocative of cranberry sauce. The finish is hints of orange and lime zest, pine, and a radiant floral warmth. One of my favorites. Okay, and then he has some cocktail recommendations, which, wait, I should tell you. I was going to skip it, but gin and tonic. I'm going to do gin and seltzer with a dash of bitters. He said it's actually good for giving to someone who's trying gin for the first time. The floral hibiscus notes add a top note and smoothness that balances out the juniper. Oh, that's maybe why. Because I have definitely tasted like that strong hibiscus flavor before in American gins. Fans of a floral hue to their martini will love how this one mixes. It also makes a good Negroni. Cool. Interesting. Okay. I had another website I was just going to say. Yeah. All right. So Master of Malt says hibiscus petals are most prominent on the palate. And then a cinnamon spiciness at the end. Right. Okay. And then I think I had one other. Oh, no, this was the website themselves. Oh, and it retails for around $30 here in the US, 30 to 34, depending on where you're buying it. I think I paid around 32, so like right in the middle. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I can tell you about it. Yeah. That's it. Cheers. Hope you get a chance to enjoy a warming drink of your own, and I'll see you again.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, Let's get into wool, and I will start with finished objects. I finished my half and half wrap, half and half triangle wrap by Purl Soho. This is a year-long, I did knit it for a year-long knit along that CadyJax Knits are doing. It went from October to this coming October 2020 to October 2021. It is intended to be complete by Rhinebeck, so Rhinebeck weekend, which is around Columbus Day weekend in October. I think it actually is like around the 19th or so, 20th, something like that. Yeah, so whether Rhinebeck is virtual or in person, the CadyJax Knit ladies are planning to do some sort of gathering, either virtually, probably both virtually and in person, if there's an in-person, would be my guess, because I think there's going to be many people who will not be able to attend Rhinebeck in person, because if they have it, it's going to be quite limited, I think. That's my guess. It's kind of bad timing for me, Rhinebeck, now, because my granddaughter was born October 15th, and she now lives in Texas. So I am hoping to spend her first birthday with her. So I'm not sure I'm going to be around for Rhinebeck myself. Oh, it's so fun. I love Rhinebeck so much, so much. Yeah, so I'm wearing the half and half triangle wrap. I did a very unique version. So those of you who have been here since the beginning, this is the last time you're going to have to hear me go through it. I did a color block version because the pattern is meant to be knit in linen quill, Purl Soho's own yarn line. They have a lot of different yarns that they make, but linen quill is one of them. By the way, I didn't say the weather yet, but it is really cold here today. It is in the 40s, like 45 or so. It's going to be, and it's pouring rain. It's been pouring since last night. It's kind of intermittent now, but it's really, really wet and cold outside. So it's really like a chilly fall day. Not really summery. I find that Memorial Day weekend, no matter whether, earlier in the week, and I'm going to show you clips, you probably already saw some clips of flowers and things. It's been beautiful here. It's been in the very mild, in the upper 60s, 70s, we've even been up in the 80s. So it's really strange. Like Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend are both always cold, no matter what happens on either side of it. So it's going to be quite a bit warmer after Monday, I think. Though we have a rainy week ahead, which is fine. I don't mind the rain at all. Anyway, yeah, this is a big this shawl. So that's why I have a sweater on. This is an old sweater that I made. Is it the Throwover? I don't remember the name of it. It's an Andrea Mowry pattern that I made last year, right around this time. I think I finished it in April. I love it. It's so pretty for this time of year. Yeah, back to the half and half triangle wrap. Stop derailing myself. Yeah, so this is meant to be, this pattern is written so that it's two big triangles that you join in the center in sort of a miter fashion. What each triangle is a color. That is the way it was designed. I decided that I wanted to use some yarn that I had on hand from Loop Fiber Studio, and it is called Yin-yang, where it's a 4-ply yarn. In the one version, it's 3-ply of one color, 1-ply of another natural color. So this one is black, 3-ply black, 1-ply natural, and then this is the reverse. So 1-ply black, 3-ply natural. And then she did many, many other colors. So in this one, I've used her the black, white, the pink shades, the light pink, dark pink, and then the yellow shades. And they're all very, very smartly named. So like these two are Rise and Shine. The pinks are called Kiss and Make Up. And the black and white are called Yin and Yang.
She has many, many other colors. I want to say there's around 12 or 15 colors. Yeah, so my plan was to do one side very bright and the other side neutral. So then when you're wearing the neutral side, you would just see peaks of the bright colors. But I was foiled by the yardage. Even though the pattern calls for 3 skeins each side, and I had 3 skeins, 2 skeins of white, 1 skein of black for this side, and on this side I was actually planning to do bright pink, bright yellow, and bright blue on this side. I ran out of yarn, so what I did was I started here on this edge. It's so freaking big. I'll put in some pictures of me wearing it and also of me blocking it. So it's very, very, very large. I didn't have enough blocking mats to block it. So you cast on here. I made the large size, which I was supposed to, 6 skeins were supposed to be enough. And then I just knit with this first skein until it was gone. I ended mid-row. I think you can see in there somewhere. And then I just began knitting with the black, and I knit until that was gone. And I picked up my second skein of white, and I knit until that was gone, and it should have taken me to the end, but it did not. I was short, so I picked up I had a pale yellow skein on hand, so I picked that up and finished off that. I see I have an interweave in there. Actually, this is the reverse side. So I finished off that one side with the pale yellow. Knowing that it would go with my other colors. So yeah, so I finished off this side of the triangle. That's how big. And then that meant that on the other side, I just used that pale yellow in the same amount. So you can see it makes a square with a miter down the center. And yeah, I just knit until then on the pink and yellow side, I just knit to match. And it was kind of a risk because I might have run out. I mean, when you buy a skein of yarn, you don't, it has a yardage on it, but there's always a little more, but you don't know how much more necessarily. It's just a gamble, really. So I could have run out of any of these colors before I was done knitting that section, but I didn't. I actually ended up with extra of all of them. Oh, well, these 3. This one I didn't use a full skein, but these I should have used a full skein. I actually have a significant amount of the bright yellow and the least amount on the light pink. It's pretty interesting to me that it happened that way because it's the same number of stitches. You're doing, I think it's around 250 or 260. This is a free pattern, by the way, on Purl Soho's website. So I'm not giving anything away by saying the stitch count. But this is spectacular. People talk about this wrap. It was such a beast to knit. I complained about it so much up to this point, but when I laid it out to dry on the blocking mats, I stood back and was like, this thing is spectacular. I am so happy with it. I absolutely adore the color blocking. I think it looks amazing. Like, I was a little tentative. Like, sometimes I really like to go my own way, but sometimes I'm a little like, I get fear of missing out, right? Just like we all do. Like, okay, pretty comfortable going my own way, but and I was really worried that I would have fear of missing out with FOMO, with not doing a fully color blocked version on either side. And in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, I'll just make another one at some point out of the linen quill. And so that I'm like, nope, not going to do that. I freaking love this one. This is so gorgeous. I love it so much. I'm so happy with it. And I'm going to wear the heck out of it. I've already been wearing it in the evenings when it's been a little cool, just putting it on over my pajama top as I sort of just sit for the last hour and knit, last hour before bed and knit. But I love the peaks of color when it's on this side, and then the peaks of the black and white when it's on the other side. I love that, you know, I love it sort of off center. So perfect. It's so perfect. I'm so, so happy with it. So happy. And I hope I inspired some of you, maybe some people out there, either here or on Instagram. I did post all over Instagram about this when I finished it. I posted a bunch of pictures of myself wearing it. Yeah, so I hope some people are inspired. I know a lot of people are having trouble picking colors. Here's a way to do many colors, or at least, I guess this is 7 colors total. 7, no, 6, because I have 2 of the same, two skeins of this. But there's like some pretty creative, you can get pretty creative with this project. Just like, I mean, any project can be a scrappy project, right? In this case, I had this yarn on hand and I just wanted to use it. I did end up buying the lighter pink. Once I saw that, since I had intended for one side to be neutral and one side to be bright, when I ended up bringing the bright over into the neutral side, I wanted to just simplify the bright side, and instead of doing yellow, pink, blue, I went ahead and did, I had the 2 shades of yellow, so I said, let me just do the 2 shades of pink just to make it simpler. So, yeah. I love it. It's so cozy. It's really comfortable, and I may end up just, have to see. I may end up letting it live in my office because it would just be so versatile. Because my office, no matter what time of year, and always seems like either first thing in the morning when we get in or mid-afternoon, it gets really, really cold. I don't know why. Like, I know in the morning it's cold because they are raising the heat, of course, from having lowered it overnight. So yeah, it can be pretty chilly. And this time of year, sitting in the office in May, June, they do what they call a vent clearing. So we get the outside air in. So this being that we're going to have a pretty chilly week this week coming up, it's going to be freezing in there. I'm only going one day. Thank God. Anyway. Yeah, so I have a finished object. And Martha is wearing what will probably be my next finished object. This is my second stone crop cardigan by Andrea Mowry. I'm knitting it out of some pretty spectacular yarn. It is Ranch. Oh, I just have a dab of it. I have more skeins over there. So it is Ranch by Brooklyn Tweed. They're single ranch specific yarn. It knits so beautifully. If you have the opportunity to knit with their Ranch 03, I highly recommend it. It is gosh, I always fumble over this. Do I not have, yeah, I don't seem to have I want to say it's merino. I'll put it all on screen if I'm wrong, but I believe it's merino. The colorway is called Pluot. It comes in a bunch of colors, some very bright jewel tones, as well as more traditional muted fall tones. And I'm pretty sure there's the sheep bee colors, grays and browns. But yeah, stone crop cardigan, my second one. I am using Spin Cycle. I had a little... I talked about this last time. I'm on the sleeve, so I've cast off the body and I am on the first sleeve. And I did purchase, this is a Spin Cycle dyed in the wool. My shawl is falling, so I'm just going to let it fall. Dyed in the wool Summer Love is the colorway. This was supposed to be Summer Love-ish, and then this is an actual Summer Love. It's got a lot of cream you can see in this sort of like tealy green blue, and there's a pale blue in there too. I think it's just tucked right in there, creases there. This one had pale blue as well, which I've already knitted in. Yeah, so now comes the what do you do about the sleeve thing? Do you pull the yarn down to get to 2 sleeves that match or not? I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to knit. This one, if I pull from the center here, it'll match pretty well what the way the colors went on the body. But you're knitting in a smaller circumference, so it's hard to control. Like you'd really have to just keep cutting, and I don't want to do that. Just is more work than I want to do. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm probably gonna pull from the outside of this one to get a closer match to what's happening there for one sleeve, and then see how far it takes me. I may pull from the outside to get the green down at the bottom. We'll see. I'll see. Funny enough, like I didn't know that the Summer Love had this like sort of pine teal green in it. This like very greeny green in it. So I had a little dab of this color called Cataclysm, which is a more primarily teal green with gold. And in the center was some that was very gold. And it's actually so close to this one. And I ended up using that at the top. So now this really works. Weird how things work out. But I feel like with this sort of pattern and spin cycle yarns in general, like you can kind of do whatever you want. So should have that done soon. So I've made a little bit of progress on my sock. I think last time I showed it to you was just a couple inches, but now I'm actually almost done. I have another inch to go. That's how this yarn is knitting. It's like a pretty beautiful green. This is the Andrea Maori Drk everyday sock pattern with a fleagle heel. This is my second time making this sock pattern. The first time I made it, I showed it last time. It came out too big for me, so I'm going to be gifting those to my sister. Yeah, and I'm working with more hand spun. This is from Witchcrafty Lady, and a braid from Witchcrafty Lady. It is a Porth silk blend. I got very substantial yardage. It's fairly thin, which is, I think, another reason why this sock came out, kind of on the small side. But it's still going to be fine. And I think, so I have another ball of this that's caked exactly the same. I divided it in half. I ended up with a skein of yarn that had a built-in gradient. So it went from green to brown to orange to purple. I should finish out. I have another inch or so to knit, so I think I'll finish out with the orange. I'm so close to it, to pulling from the orange. But then I think I'll have enough to make a pair of shorty socks from the 2 balls of yarn that I have. But I'll show you more of this. I'll definitely have this done by next time. I may have the whole pair done by next time, so I'll talk more about it then, about what I'm doing. So, but I'm loving making socks, hand knit socks out of hand spun yarn. It's really fun. Okay. Oh, I have some process interlude for you now. I'm going to talk about my other project that's been on my needles. That is the stripes with exclamation point also by Andrea Mowry. You're gonna just think I'm Andrea Mowry crazy. She makes a lot of patterns, in my defense, so she makes a lot of patterns. Anyway, I think her patterns are well written, and they're generally easy to wear and understand. And she had a knit along, which was what prompted me to cast this on, and the stripes. It ended last week, but I didn't make it with these two. I had another sweater that I did finish and get in for that knit along. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. These are enjoyable projects, both of them. Anyway, last time I talked to you about the stripes sweater, I was very unhappy with the yarn choices, the yarn colors that I had put together. And I chose the colors because they came in a kit from La BNMA for Slipstravaganza, which I had purchased the kit in the fall, when Slipstravaganza first came out, Stephen West pattern. I did make Slipstravaganza. I had one on the needles when I bought the kit. I bought the kit because I loved the colors. They just were like so bright and cheerful and beautiful, and I really, really wanted to, I just wanted to have it. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And when the Andrea Mowry made a March to May cowl came out, where you could cast on anything you wanted, I chose to make stripes with that kit. But I was struggling with the way the colors were working together. So take a look at some of my process footage here.
So I woke up this morning after posting the video, episode 10, and I thought I should frog this. Why am I trying to make this work? This just does not work. And I think I'm just a little frustrated because I bought it as a kit, which means it should work together. But something's off. So I thought I would just sort of think about what might be off. I think it's the green and yellow together because I don't mind those. And I don't mind those. I think the gray is a neutral. It's full of pops of color. So it's like rainbow with gray. Really can't go wrong, right? So I'm going to take that out of the equation for now. I had some, I pulled some skeins of yarn, just a few, and oh, my color wheel, to try to figure out what's happening here. Like, why is this not working? So I, first identify the colors. That is very definitely yellow. This would be in this red-violet zone. Yeah, it's somewhere in there. And the green, it's not quite blue enough to be regular green, but it's not exactly a yellow green either. It's definitely a yellowish green. So let's do a little color theory here. Okay, so you could see the triangle there. So if it's a blue-green, it should be put together with violet and orange if we're doing a triad. So then I wanted to see what works with pink and yellow. And it's blue, of course. I've been saying all along there should probably be a turquoise in here. So you can see also there are quadrants that connect. So I can get one that connects yellow with red. So this one right here. It brings in violet and green. So that would tell me that maybe what's missing is this. So this is a nice, I wouldn't use this yarn, but just for color. This is from Homespun House. It's a single ply. I mean, that's more pleasing because this is now tempering that. So that's a possibility. I don't love it, I have to say. I actually think I'm going to end up splitting these three up. All right, going back to the color wheel. Okay, there's another square in there, but I can't make it work for yellow and pink if I want to keep those two together.
All right, there's a quadrant with green and pink and orange. So I could keep green and pink together and remove the yellow. And add, what is it? Blue? I don't have a blue, but this can stand in for blue. And orange. I didn't pull over an orange, but I mean, that would be another way that that could get tamped down. I could also just do that. I think the one that I like the best though, this is a Lobby Anime color, but it's not the Cashmerino. This is called Wee Rainbow on a Vespa, but she also does a solid blue, turquoisey blue, without the speckles, rainbow speckles, and it's called Vespa. I mean, I think that looks really good. I don't even mind it with the green. I think this might be what needs to pull this together. Like, actually, I mean, that's more appealing. I pulled this out too. This is an old color from Teeny Button Studio. I think it's based on Harry Potter, which she doesn't do anymore. But this is really awesome too, in there with the green. It really just that very yellow green. So looking at the color wheel, we're pulling in this color. So it's now I have these three colors with this. So that brings it together. So this is connecting these two, which is what's needed, I think, because these two are not working together. You'd think yellow and green would go together, but clearly it doesn't. Oh my God. So Lobby Anime is having a sale tomorrow. She's got a shop update, so I'm gonna see what I can see. I mean, her yarn is so expensive. I might just buy a skein of this in the Cashmerino, maybe a skein of one other thing, just to see if I can make this jive. And you know what? The gray might come out. I'm not sure. We'll see. Before I put this away, I just wanted to say too that I really love the idea of a color disruptor when it comes to a stripe pattern. And in some way you might say that like the green is a disrupting color, but it's not disrupting in a good way. The way to do your disruptor is so a disruptor would be a color that sort of breaks a little bit of the rules, and I think the best way to do a disruptor is by doing a different shade or tint, so like a dirtier version of what would work in there. Because like I'm looking at this going, I think maybe something like in the rust or red orange family might be really cool, just to kind of tone down the brights and give it like sort of an earthy vibe. I even think like a gold could be really interesting in there. Like it'd have to be the right shade of gold though. So that's how you do that. You don't want to pull in some wacky color that isn't going to be complementary to the palette. Instead, it should be complementary, but maybe a little bit clearer of a tone, meaning more white, or a little bit murkier, meaning more black to it. Because colors, the way you're getting this color change here is by adding white or black to it, or gray. So that's the way you do that. Yeah, I love the idea of a disruptor. I don't know. I'm interested to see what I find tomorrow in the sale. My order from Lobby Anime came. I bought 3. So I had talked about buying this color, which is Vespa. Actually, I think this is Vespa Graffiti because it's got some speckles in it. It's really pretty, gorgeous turquoise. I couldn't resist throwing this in. This color is called Ichigo, which is a anime character in the series Bleach, who has like bright orange hair. But I just loved it. And these two on the color wheel are opposite each other, so they're complementary, contrasting colors. And then this, I had to throw this in too. I actually have another idea for this color. This is the colorway Sari, S-A-R-I. But these, aren't they so beautiful together? I just love them. But I just was like, you know, you're paying a flat fee to have them shipped, and it just isn't cost effective if you just buy one skein. So I just went ahead and bought these three with the idea of helping this problem out. So I played around with these a little bit, and I think the color Sari is a little too similar to the PQ color I already have. So I don't think I'm gonna use that. I'm just gonna take one of these out to make this simpler. But look at the change. Let me put that away. Look at the change in how these two, just introducing two more colors, really does a better job balancing what was happening here. Because what's going on in terms of the color wheel, just to keep you, I mean, maybe this will help you. It's the only reason I'm doing this. Just gonna finish my thought. These three, Pinku, La Biename Yellow, and Vespa, they make a triad on the color wheel. So I know they'll work well together. They're so pretty. Aren't they so great? But I love the addition of this color too. And I don't think the green is bad with them. And of course the gray, it's rainbow, goes with them all. It's a nice sort of neutral tone down to the striping situation here. So yeah, I don't mind the green either. I think the addition of the turquoise really is a game changer with this palette. Yeah, I wish I could use this too. Anyway, I am going to do some ripping back on this sweater and some new, I'm probably gonna rip back to the second stripe and start integrating some of these colors, and I'm gonna think on whether or not I even want to use the green. I don't think I need it, but you know, I have it, and if it looks nice, if it's additive, I'm gonna keep it in. But I may just do these 5 colors and then just do a 5-color stripe without doing 2 repeats of the gray.
So I hope you enjoyed that, seeing me work through the color choices and things. And yeah, here is my new stripes. Well, what do you think? So I ended up with a 6-color stripe instead of a 4-color stripe pattern. I don't know, it's working for me. I like it. I think it's fine. Full disclosure, I knit to about where I am right now in a different order than this and rip back, which I do have a picture, so I'll put it on screen. I ripped back to this bright pink and then knit in a different order here. Didn't like it, pulled it back out, back up to the bright pink, and then knit in this order. But I think this is it. I think this is the order. So I also posted on Instagram, and some of you, I think, commented, because a couple people said, I have been watching your channel and saw, and there were some pretty strong opinions about taking the green out or the gray out.
which would give me this, whoops, here, that sort of repeat, which, I mean, it's really pretty. But so I talked about in the clips that you just watched about a disruptor, and I really think that the green more so than the gray are disruptors. I actually think both of them are disruptors. But I like it. I was looking at Andrea Mowry's version, and she didn't even go in order. Like, she didn't do a repeat of her stripes. Her stripes were all random and different. She used the same, I think it was 8 colors, but she changed up the order. So she did the repeat and then changed it. She's also quite small. She's smaller than I am, so she could do fewer stripes than I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to go in order, I think, because I like this order quite a lot. It's funny to me how docile that Ichigo color becomes, this pale peach. But oh my gosh, it's so, so pretty. I really, really love it. I think I'm really happy with it. And such soft, gorgeous yarn. Like, it feels so good. And it's going to be really fun to wear, like, in the summer over jean shorts, or on cool days like today. And yeah, it's going to be great. I love it. I'm very happy with it. Okay. I have a new cast on, which I actually cast on a few weeks ago, and I just haven't shared it because I haven't really made progress because these things have been consuming me. Well, this especially. This I just needed to get done. This is called the Open Edge Tee by Jessie Made. All I have knit is, I'm almost done with the rib. I've only knit a little bit of rib. It'll be like a t-shirt style sweater. I don't knit too many of these because they're not all that wearable in the region that I live in. Like, the amount of time, usually what happens is that I decide to cast one on in April or May, and then by the time I'm done, it's too hot to wear it. And even though I should be able to wear it in the fall, I don't, because I'm just more interested in fallish styles and colors. But I bought this yarn last year. This is by the company Yarn Love, and it's in what she calls Princess Buttercup, which is a silk linen blend. So it's really nice and light, and it's going to feel good, cool on warmer days, and maybe with the chill that happens in my office, it'll be good for to wear to the office and such. So yeah, it'll certainly feel good to knit in the hot weather. So that's a new cast on, which I don't have too much to show you. And then the last project I have to show you is crochet. I talked about this last time. This is I'm going to show you my progress on the Ziggy Interrupted, which I'm knitting along with Christy Glass Knits, who is doing a cowl. I think it's just a month-long cowl, so it just kicked off Monday, May 24th, and it continues until the end of June, I believe. I think there'll be another Zoom, at least one other Zoom, if not 2 other Zoom calls. But so I have been making progress on my other panel. I think I showed you, I do not recall what I showed you last time, and I could have looked it up, but I didn't take a look. But just to recap, maybe you're new and you need a recap. This is my, so this is a scarf that I made wider. I went 2 panels wider than it called for, just so that I could have it to be more of a wrap than a scarf, because I don't really wear scarves. I am more of a wrap person, but it's quite long. It'll just be a long rectangle. So yeah, so this is 1 panel. You make 4 of these, and you connect them. So they'll be like, I'm doing a bad job explaining this. Yes, you do 3 rows of these little square motifs, which are just such a joy to make. I love making them. They're the thing I reach for each morning. I just sit there and, hook a few, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many I can get made between, waking up and having to begin work. And then, so you make a handful of them, stitch them together, which the stitching together goes so fast. So if you're not into, hand sewing with a needle, it goes really, really super fast with these. I can do it in one sitting, like probably in half hour or so, get them all together. So you stitch those all together and then you start crocheting these stripes, and it's 7 stripes. So the way that Christy Glass did hers, so she made one of these last year. She wanted to use up minis that she got in an advent, and she devised a way to use 29 skeins, mini skeins. And then, so 28, so 4 sections, you group together 7 mini skeins for each section, and then the center section to connect those. So it's 2 panels on each side with a connection of these squares in between. So you just kind of put together the two panels with this center thing of motifs. Yeah, so she devised this like way of integrating, 7 colors into the motifs, and then you have 7 stripes. I actually am doing it slightly different since it is a little bit bigger. I have 8 colors in my motifs, and then I chose 7 of those to stripe. And I moved the other color. In this case, it was this dark sort of purple color. It did not get into the stripes. I moved it into another section to help with the integration. So it'll be in the section that follows this one. So it'll sort of help blend the colors together. And I'll also be using this like green purple color in the motifs for the section that'll border this, so that it'll sort of all create this flow of color. And that's all like in Christy's instructions. So if you buy the video introduction in her on her website, Knit and Escape, her business website, she has all these videos that are full of information about how to put your color, how to choose your colors, how to put them together, how to do the whole thing. So I didn't make any of this up. She did. So yeah, so I decided to go ahead and jump to the extreme other side. So these two sides will be hanging together on the end. So this is one end, this is the other. So there will be some colors in between that will blend it together. That'll make it more blendy. So this is my heavy blue purple side, but the section that goes after this, that'll be the second section on this side, has purple and pink. So pink is the overarching color through the whole thing. And then I also have interspersed some of these like sort of 70s style neutrals in it. Thank you, Stress Knits, for those 70s style neutrals. Yeah, so this is such a pleasurable, so satisfying, such a pleasurable project. I really, really, really enjoy it. I've been enjoying it more than I thought. So much so that I actually am thinking about a couple other crocheted things that I want to make. And maybe I'll even get to doing a crochet granny blanket, as so many other people, like just a crochet stripe blanket, as so many other people have made with their scrap yarn. I have quite a lot of scrap yarn. If you've watched the episode where I pulled those colors together, I had my scraps out. So yeah, something I've been thinking about. But I have also been delighted with what a bite out of my minis that project did. And I am using them up. Like, I don't know if I have enough for tassels, and I'm okay with that. Like, it was a choice to make it wider, and I think if my tassels are going to be, you know, all the same color. You do a edging, a single crochet edging around the whole thing when it's done. So if my tassels all end up being that color, that's fine. I'm fine with that. So I'm gonna figure that out. Sewing. So I conceived a couple different sewing projects that I wanted to work on for the spring. Like usually the sewing bug bites me right around the spring if I'm going to do any sewing. I haven't sewn in a while. It's probably been about 2 years since I've done any significant sewing. I did a bunch of sewing in 2018. I sewed a dress, my mother of the groom dress and stuff for my son's wedding, and I did some other sewing like to warm up towards that, and then I don't think I sewed at all. I didn't sew much after that. I sewed a couple things that summer. I did film some of my process. I did this a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago. I just didn't have enough to show you last time. So I'm going to have you watch that, and I'm going to put what I made, my completed sewing project, on Martha for you to see.
Every spring, I always see lots of beautiful dresses in the shops that are, you know, anywhere from $100 to $300-$400. And I always think to myself, I should make myself a dress instead of like spending the money to purchase. So the last spring I didn't think too much about making any dresses because I wasn't going anywhere, but this spring and summer look more promising. So as I was looking at dresses in popular stores, I was remembering that I had this fabric and this fabric that I got at a Purl Soho sale in 2018 or 19. I don't remember exactly. I bought 3-yard pieces. They were half off. This is Liberty of London. If you're not familiar with that fabric company, it's very expensive, beautifully made, high quality cotton prints primarily. So yeah, so I got these 2 pieces. I just like picked up 2 random pieces and thought, oh cool, yay, I'm gonna make something out of them, and I didn't. So so I always buy fabric with intention, except this was a whim since they were on sale. So I think I paid half price. This fabric can be as much as like $50 a yard, but I got these for half price, which still at 3 yards, these are like around $70 a piece, each piece. And I had made a couple years ago, I made a bunch of things from these Japanese style books. So this one is called Stylish Dress Book. So I bought this. I think it was published in 2012, maybe 2014, something like that. One warning, if you like this, is that it is not entirely size inclusive, so you can see the sizes. I'm actually going to make the size 16 for myself because I want a really loose fit. But it is gorgeous. Like there are these, and there's a cookie recipe. There is these very simple, timeless patterns that are pretty, you know, for an advanced, or not even advanced, but like if you have a little experience sewing, these wouldn't be too bad. The instructions are pretty de minimis. So this is the section A. So this is it. This is all you get instructions wise. You do get some pattern sheets
with the patterns on them, all sizes, and then what you have to do is draft. So I drafted this week. I already drafted one of the patterns in the book. So I use, I have some dot paper from pattern making paper from my days in the industry. And yeah, so I'm used to that. I like that paper, like to use it. So I did that. I drafted the pattern, and as I was drafting the pattern, it occurred to me that maybe I should not use such beautiful, expensive fabric, kind of roughing out a pattern from this book. Not that I roughed it out, but I'm not finishing telling you what it is I'm planning to make. So what I'm planning to make is, hold on. I'm planning to make a dress, but I'm gonna take this like puff sleeve, gathered neck, button front. I am cutting it off about here, and then I'm adding gathered tiers. So either 2 or 3 gathered tiers, depending on the fabric and how much I have. So that is my plan. So let me show you view D here. So you can see the black and white outline. There it is. So that's the outline of it. And so it'll cut off about here, just around the 4th button, and just be a full gathered skirt to make what is my perception of many very popular dresses. Okay, so anyway, I decided that I needed some less expensive fabric to try this pattern out, but I didn't want to go with muslin because muslin you can't really wear. I just wanted to go ahead and jump right into something that would be wearable. So I went on Brooklyn General's website, and I ended up buying this. I am so ridiculous. Okay, so I bought this. This is more Liberty of London fabric, but these are remnants, so they were really inexpensive for Liberty. So this was a half yard of this gorgeous lawn cotton, beautiful. And this was a yard and a half, also very beautiful. My thought was maybe I could combine them. So together they're 2 yards. Maybe I can combine these 3 into a dress, a nice full dress. Because this is 3 yards, which turns out after I drafted the pattern, it's about 1 yard too short for like a mid calf, something that would go down to your mid calf. I could easily make an above the knee, but I thought I would save the green, this beautiful green geometric patterning for that. And then maybe make now mind you, I conceived this idea of mixing the patterns up after I purchased these, and these were on their way, and I was like, well, so much for buying a less expensive fabric.
So this is my finished dress. It is something else. I learned a lot. I always learn when I sew. What I learned from making sewing projects last time was that I really needed to do more lining. I made these beautiful linen dresses last time, very simple shapes, also from those Japanese design books, or pattern books, I guess is probably a better word for them. By the way, I don't know if I said it, I don't think I said it, but I bought those pattern books from Amazon. They were inexpensive, like less than $20, I want to say like $16 or $18, something like that. So they were very reasonable, and you do have to spend time drafting the pattern, which can take a couple hours to draft. You draw off the pattern and then you add your seam allowance and stuff like that. It's not too bad. In this case, I did a pattern hack. So I took that blouse and I just added on these tiers. I only did 2 tiers, two dress tiers. I don't know, is there a way you can see more? It's not that long. It's down to, have I put this on? I have.
But it's really not good weather for me today to wear this or to even photograph it. Like my lighting is bad. But I think, so it's, here's the bottom. So it goes to like my knee length. It is so loose though. Like, I mean, that's sort of the aesthetic of those Japanese dresses in that pattern book. It's just, you know, this sort of like unconscious, unconscious body, not body conscious, the body unconscious. That's not even really right, but I should know because I'm a scholar of dress and appearance, and there is a term for it. It's escaping me right now. What they call the reverse of body conscious. Yeah, so it's super baggy. You can see the armhole is really low, like my armhole. So Martha's my size. I know I say this all the time, but I never know if you're new. So I just want you to know that Martha is my size. So if it fits her this way, it fits me this way too. Yeah, so my armpit is way up here. Way up here, but the armhole of this dress is way down here. So, I mean, it was interesting. It was interesting to make. I ended up doing some smocking in the back just to draw the back in because it was so baggy. So this is just like with elastic thread as your bobbin, and then you use your same, you know, regular thread on top. You just stitch in rows, and I think I did like 8 rows of elastic in a square just to draw the back in because it was so freaking baggy. And I reduced the bulk a little bit. If I were to make this again, I would reduce the bulk more. So I am going to be making I'm actually making 2 more dresses, and I'm making a skirt. From what I saw in the store that I was just looking at, there was this gorgeous tiered skirt. So my very first sewing project was a tiered skirt where you just cut straight strips of fabric straight across, and then you go times 1.5 or times 2. So if you have like your width of the fabric is 45 inches, that's your first tier. Your second tier is 1.5 or 2 strips. The next tier is double 1.5 or double that, then and so on and so on. So in this, I'm going to put this on screen. This skirt that I'm putting on screen right now was almost $500. And it's just a simple tiered skirt. It's 7 tiers with an elastic waistband. So easy to make. So I did a little combing through of Mood, actually. I looked at different fabric shops, but I ended up at Mood, looking at Mood's fabrics, and they had a stripe that was so similar. I'll put a picture of it because I don't have it nearby. So similar to that stripe, and all I could think about was, and I'm going to add tassels. I'm going to add tassels because I've seen tassels and I found some really beautiful muted tassels. I'm going to show you the whole thing when it's together. When it's done, it's going to be a very quick sew. I'll probably sew it tomorrow actually, or Monday, maybe a combo of both depending on my time. But it's like rainy and dreary this weekend, so there's not much to do other than like sit inside and craft. I'm excited. I love that. So yeah, I am gonna do that. And I also bought, you saw in the clip, I have the blue, I'm gonna make a blue dress, a blue version with those 3 fabrics, but not this pattern. I'm going to do a slightly different version. I'm gonna do the one where it's got kind of a bib here, like has a piece, a yoke. That's what the term is, a yoke. It has a yoke down the front instead of buttons, and it's a pullover. I am going to significantly reduce the amount of gathers, the amount of fabric. This is a lot of fabric in this dress. It's fine though. I did line it, so that was one of the things that I learned from the last time. I did line it, so it has a beautiful just white lawn cotton lining. So, and the top is lined too. The front anyway, the back is not lined, but the front is lined. So I'll be lining the other two. I'll be lining the tiered skirt that I'm making, and I will be lining the blue dress. And then I bought some yellow Swiss dot from Made in Italy. Beautiful, beautiful golden yellow. That I'm going to be making a version of this, but I'm going to significantly reduce the bulk and I'm going to raise the armhole. This is a raglan sleeve. So I'm going to raise the armhole up and I'm going to reduce the amount of bulk in the waist. So bust wise, this isn't bad. So like it has like probably 4 inches of ease, which I don't mind that. What I didn't like so much is all the bulk around here, around the waist. So I'm going to reduce some of that and I'm going to reduce the layers a little bit. So that's a little bit more, I don't know, flattering, I guess. I don't mind this. This is fine for, this is a look, right? It's a particular aesthetic and it's fine. But I don't want everything to look like this, I guess, is really what it boils down to. So I'm going to sort of fiddle and maybe hack this pattern a little bit more. There's a version, there's actually, I'll put it on screen now, there's a brown dress that I saw that is quite similar to this, except that this is not buttons. They just made a sort of an overlap or something like that. So I'm going to fiddle around with it, with some of the pattern pieces and see. Maybe I could use the yoke one that maybe that bodice is the way to go because it has a, I could put a center front split and maybe just use the yoke piece as the overlap, something like that. Like I think there's a way I could do it pretty easily. So yeah, that's my little sewing segue. So I finished this very small spin. It's actually still wet. This is what is left from the major spin that I did that occupied me for about a month or so for the center point popover, which I am planning to cast on soon. So this is my swatch of that yarn. This was a very, very blue bit of it. I think it was this might have been the little dab, the little mini skein that I used my test skein. So this was about 40 grams that was left over of the LCB, created by LCB. That's where I got this fiber. This is the color Candy Mountain on her Targhee base. I love it though. Look how pretty this is. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It's just a small dab, so maybe I can use it for some color work. Maybe some color work socks, actually. That would be cool. Have to figure that out. So yeah, this has to finish drying. I don't even know the yards yet. It has to, once it's dry, I'll check it out. What I do to find out the yardage is I do count the wraps, how many wraps are on the Niddy Noddy, because my Niddy Noddy is supposed to give me a 2 yard. Each full revolution around it is 2 yards. But what I find is when I soak the yarn, it does shrink down a bit. So then what I do is I just keep track of the number of times I wrapped it, and then I measure this length once it's completely dry. But yeah, it came out to like, this is just a 2-ply, a lot of barber pulling happening, and it came out to, what was I going to say? I don't know.
I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, that's the story with that. These, if you're wondering, if you're dying to see what my big spin, my worsted 4-ply that I worked on for so long, for 2 episodes, episodes 8 and 9, I have swatched and I am planning to cast this on next. This will be my project that I will cast on, my very next cast on. I must just said the same thing like 3 different ways. I don't know why. Yeah, so that's on my mind, and I do want to get going on it. It's going to be so good, so good. So hopefully I'll have that to show you next time. Little bit of stash acquisition. I am still getting into the world fiber club. This month is May. This is Bubbles and Squeak. Isn't that a breakfast food in Great Britain? Anyway, this is so gorgeous. I just love it. Look at the coral and the teal and the violet and the gold and brown. It's really, really beautiful. I need to do more spinning. I actually have, yeah. So Tour De Fleece is coming up too. So I am ready. I am ready. I haven't conceived of a plan. I do need a plan. It's like a 3-week time where you are intended to spin, and there are teams form. If you're not a spinner, teams form on Instagram and Ravelry and probably Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, so I don't really know, but I would assume there through social media groups. Teams form, and teams all have different goals and different things. I haven't joined a team yet. I'm probably gonna join the Green Goat Ranch one that she does with Wool for the Dame. I think I'm gonna do that one. That's the one I did last year. It was weird doing it last year though, because it didn't correlate with Tour de France. So it's supposed to correlate, the dates correlate with Tour de France, and you're supposed to sort of do what the bikers are doing. So if it's a challenge day for them, you do it, give yourself a challenge, either like to do a certain amount of yardage or something. So, yeah, so I'm probably going to join that because they're very low key, and, just kind of want you to set a goal, set some of your own personal goals, and then work towards them. So I like that. I like that sort of low key ease. So I'm probably going to do that. But I just need to think about it a little bit more about what it is I want to work towards. I probably just need to look at my fiber stash and figure out what it is I exactly want to spin and just start going. Actually, would be kind of nice just to spin all the stuff I got from Maryland Sheep and Wool, because I just got a lot of beautiful fiber. We have some hummingbirds that come to our yard, and I usually put out a hummingbird feeder. My hummingbird feeder from last year broke, and I just was sort of slow about getting one. I thought about it and I was thinking about it, and the hummingbirds did like some buzz-bys my window where I have other bird feeders out. They buzzed by. And I was like, oh my goodness, I need to get a feeder. So I ordered a new feeder, put it out, and I was just thinking, I was looking outside with the cat, looking at the feeder and thinking that there weren't any visitors, and then I saw a hummingbird come, which was gorgeous. And then I was walking in the back of the yard, and I saw this hummingbird just doing this dance, it's beautiful. So I captured a little footage, so you'll be able to see her or him darting around. I think there was 2 at some point, but you'll see it. It's a big, bright spot across a dark green background, just sort of buzzing around. So if you don't know, hummingbirds' chief food is insects. So they're really great for a yard because they keep the insects down. They eat insects. But they like nectar. They need the nectar for the quick energy so that they can go after the insects. So this little girl or guy had fueled up and was just doing this, swooping among the bugs and stuff, just having a ball, like just eating, having a feast, really. So I hope you enjoy that footage. It's just so beautiful. There might be some flowers before that, or after, I don't know. But yeah, anyway. Thank you so much for watching and for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's very diverse. This is about as diverse as it gets for me crafting wise, with the knitting, spinning, crochet, and sewing. Again, I don't sew too much, so don't expect too much over the course of a year. I do have those other projects, so we'll see what happens. And last, before you go, I will be going to Texas, so I'll do what I can in terms of vlogging some of that footage for you for my next episode. I'm going to go see my son and my granddaughter and my daughter-in-law and check out their new house and how they're doing. So excited to go. So then 2 weeks from now, I will be in Texas, so I won't be doing an episode. And then when I come back, I'm going to the beach to my friend who I haven't seen in over a year, also because of the pandemic. So I'm going to his house out in the Hamptons. And the weekend after that, I'm going to the Jersey Shore to another friend's house who just bought a new house. So I'm going to her house. And yeah, so I don't know. I'll figure it out somewhere in there. Just be aware that I'll probably be delayed with my next episode. Maybe I can squeeze it in between, during the week, because I do have some time off in between some of those trips. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're well. I hope you're vaccinated, or you're on your way to vaccination, and that you are staying healthy and you're enjoying your crafting. And I will see you again soon. Bye.